Good evening. I just wanted to take this opportunity to explain to you what is in your child's packet. I'm going to be attempting to make lots of videos on instruction for the children, some story time, just maybe some fun things thrown in there. This particular video is for the families, the moms, the dads, grandmas, whoever's going to be helping your student with their academics. I wanted to go over what is in the packet that you picked up, what your job will look like over the next week or so. I want to make this as comprehensive as possible. We're going to be still doing our Bible, our phonics, our numbers, writing. I'm going to throw in some extra reading and maybe a science lesson or two. So inside your packet, there were lots of different things. We always start our day with Bible. So I'm going to be doing a Bible lesson every day. I'm going to go over the verses. So inside of the zipper bag that is normally your student's homework bag, that'll be more of the academic papers that we'll be going over. And then there was a Ziploc bag of extra crafts, fun things, things that don't really need a lot of help. Now, your student might not need the directions read to them. Some can already read that, and some need a little bit more help. I want you to think of it as a marathon and not a sprint. We definitely don't want to rush through things. We're in this together, and I know that each child has different gifts. And some can really breeze through some of those books fast, and some need a little bit more time, and some are just awesome with numbers, and they can do that really fast. So you know your child best, and I'm going to try and help facilitate the pacing of that through these videos. So the very first thing I want to show you is our verses. We usually have a verse a week, or we do one verse for 2 weeks, depending on if there's a holiday. So Isaiah 41:10, Romans 3:23, and I'm sorry, that's backwards. Those are going to be verses that we're going to memorize together. When we come back to school, it's going to be something that I will assess and see how they did. What I would suggest doing is just reading them once a day, putting them on the fridge, saying them with your child. There are 3 verses, and you would be surprised how lengthy of a passage they can memorize. Their little brains can just soak it all in, and they do such an amazing job. So that'll be our Bible. Those are the 3 verses we're going to focus on for the rest of March and into April. We don't do a written test, or it's all oral memorization, so it should be something that they catch on with. So after Bible, it's going to be phonics. I'm going to be uploading some how to teach phonics videos. As moms and dads and grandmas, we can read, and we do it quite well as we do it every day. But when we break down the steps and we break down the concepts, sometimes we have to take a step back and say, well, they needed a little bit slower for us. So I'm going to be uploading kind of a how to guide your student to sounding out these sounds, reading the words. So I'm going to show you a few of the pages that we'll be working on. The Abeka curriculum has the pages that look like this. And then we have what we call supplemental material. So in the classroom, you have seen both of these things. This is the where we are on the lessons, and it's a little bit more challenging. This is usually a review. This is something the student can do on their own. If you give them a quick direction and say, fill in the first letter of that sound, they know what to do. Something like this from the Abeka book has multiple things to do. It usually has 2 sides, and it has numbers do this, then this, and this. I'm going to be doing these type of pages on video, and it's something that if your student can go ahead and do, they can. I would make sure just checking behind them. Even some students that know how to read the directions and do it themselves, sometimes they still make mistakes, and that's okay. And we have to go behind them and just say, oh, you went a little too fast. Got to slow down. So our phonics pages, I have about 3 of them with 2 sides. I'm going to be explaining them this week. If we find that we are getting through it, then we can send home some more, and then I'll send out information about that. These pages here, what I wanted to tell you about these are something you can do on your own. These are something you can work with your child, send them with a babysitter or whoever they're staying with. This isn't something that should come very easily to your student. So that'll be our phonics. After phonics, we're going to work on numbers. I think that generally numbers are easier to catch on. There's not a lot of paperwork when it comes to numbers. It's a lot of manipulatives, money, counters, addition stories. So I'm going to try my best to do those over the video. And that way, if you don't feel like you have the time to work on some of the paperwork, they can watch a lesson, a math lesson on addition, on addition on time to the hour. We're going to do all sorts of those things through the video. I did include a few math and number pages. For example, something like this, filling in the numbers, and we'll go through this again because this is an Abeka page. Also, I have all of the addition and subtraction families. This is a lot, and if you want to, it would be awesome to be able to make flashcards. I have some in a digital file. I don't know who has access to a printer and things like that, so I'm going to be sending out that file, and if you'd like to, you can print it, cut it, and use it for your student. But that's what that will be for. We also have something that is a little bit more challenging, and these are our addition story problems. So this is an example of what you can read to your student. Jen has 4 apples. Her dad gives her 2 more. How many apples does she have altogether? Something like that is something you can do in the car, you can do at the table. It can be done on paper, but just having that conversation with your child helps them to think outside of this piece of paper. So it's a really good idea. Something like color coding, reading the number words. Something that we were just starting before our break was number words. So I'm going to be sending another file out where you can print the number words and practice those at home as well. Again, that's not really a written paper, but it is a memory activity. So we have our Bible, our phonics, and our numbers. And I would say the last thing that I'm really going to do a little bit on over the video is writing. I sent home a couple different kinds of writing pages. I have this blank sheet right here. We're going to be doing a little bit of writing a sentence, a very short sentence, over video, so we can use that. On the back, it could be something that they practice on their own. Some words, some letters, anything that you feel they need more practice on. Another thing I sent home was a name practice. Most of them know how to write their name. A good percentage of them can do their last name, but this is a great opportunity to practice that last name. So they can trace their first and last name and then use the back of the paper to write their first and last name without looking. See if they can do that. And the last thing is a little bit on the more challenging side, but they know, and I tell them all the time, we are preparing for first grade. So we get a little challenging sometimes. These writing pages right here, basically it breaks down the structure of a sentence. Capital letters, lowercase letters, and punctuation, and what that looks like. I'm going to be doing these on a video just to show an example of how I teach, how I teach sentence structure. And last, but certainly not least, is fun. I want to encourage you to have fun. This is a time where we may not have this time again of staying home with such concentrated time with our family. And I want you to choose 1 or 2 things a day that you can focus on that they enjoy doing, whether it's books or art or Legos. I know my girls love Legos. Something where they feel like they're still having fun, but they have those boundaries of school. What we've included, just a little bit of some practice, is this cutting pack. These are great. They can cut these out. They can glue them on the construction paper. It is a great skill that even though they can cut, it's a fine motor skill that always needs that. They need that muscle exercised very regularly. So these are just kind of little fun pages. And I would say with these to space them out, use them when you feel like they could use a brain break for writing or they've been playing. And I would love to see these. So if you take a picture, upload it, you can text me. I sent out my information. You could message me through Dojo. I would love to see these. A lot of our students are very creative in the arts. So I always tell them, if you draw me a picture, I would really love to see it because I love that. And lastly are the reading books. I sent your child's current reader plus a couple of the readers that come after that. Definitely, this is something that we're going to do together. You can read with your child, but the goal would be for them to read to you. If you're wondering what it's supposed to sound like and how we take breaks, ask reading comprehension questions, that's what the videos will be for. So feel free to go at your own pace and at their pace, but I'm going to be showing you kind of how we read during our reading circle. For example, we have a story on some of them. There'll be a story. And then on some of the other books, we have a little bit more simpler words, but we still go back and talk about the basics. Kindergarten is a huge foundational year, so going back and reviewing is never a bad thing. And last but not least, I just want to remind you one more time that I'm praying for you. Please keep in communication, and I hope you have a great evening, and you will see me again soon.